What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jacked Ramsays pregame show. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Appreciate you having here. Blazers taking on the Miami Heat in what is going to be game 2 of 16 in the month of January now, which means they're going to end up playing a game literally every other night except for, I think, the gap between this 5-game homestand and the 6-game road trip. I believe they have 2 days off. That is it. They play basketball every other day. So get used to it. First of all, welcome in. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Yes, I feel like crap. If I sound like crap, it's because I somehow am feeling almost as bad as I did a week ago. So, back for round 2.
Yeah, no, I have family that we got it, and I'm lucky so far. At least I haven't had symptoms return, but I've had family members, multiple family members, like it's basically showed back up. Like they went from like I'm good, and then now they're like I feel like crap again.
Yeah, please God no. So I'm struggling through it, fighting through it, but we're good to go. Really appreciate having you here. We will do the live watch party. We will keep those going through January. I think it's going to be. It was one of those things where I wasn't sure if it was what I wanted to do, considering the state of the franchise and how the basketball they're playing. But as things go, I would expect that we're probably going to get some news about some decisions within the organization. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, about spearheading the rest of the season with the young guys. So, yeah, fire it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you see Chauncey's comments tonight?
I mean,
he basically was like, "Well, after a week, we'll reevaluate. It could be a positive step, but we'll have to wait and see." And I'm like, you're doing that teasing thing until he really makes his mind up about surgery or not, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, they're trying to string this out into the All-Star break. Let's not get it twisted. The first question in here from Logan Euchre was, is Dame playing? No. Dame's out tonight and the next 3 games. Yes, I am rocking my 4 eyes. And no, I don't have the anti-reflective coating, which I clearly need to get on here. I can show you the big ring light in front of me on the reflection. That's real classy, right?
Well, quick question for you. Why would we string this out for the All-Star break? He's not going to get enough games. The dude's not going to be an All-Star. I'm sorry. His name's great, but
I think they're holding out hope that he can
get like a coach's selection.
Yes.
And then just be like, okay, now I can get a substitute.
And just put it up on the wall.
I mean, you were right. You mentioned how this is important. I personally am not one that thinks people count, hey, he's got 9. No, he's got 10. But
it does look different on that when it's all said and done and you're looking at that resume on the Hall of Fame. And granted, the NBA Hall of Fame is easier to get into. There's don't.
He's already a Hall of Famer.
He Basketball Reference has him as like a 91% chance.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because LaMarcus, I think, is listed at like 51%.
LaMarcus is 51?
Which I found really surprising.
I would have
thought he'd be a lot higher.
Like 70% maybe, just based on the standards.
I have him as pretty much a no-doubter. Like if you look at like his totals, his point totals, his rebound totals, his offensive rebound totals, his field goal totals. He's had some pretty massive playoff games, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the channel. We are back on the growth curve that we had going prior to Hawaii and me nearly dying. So thank you for that. When I look at the analytics, it was just this hard, flat line for 3 weeks. It was a bummer to see because we had worked so hard to kind of get so much momentum going. But that's the reality in content creation and stuff like this. And to be honest, I don't think people were really excited to watch this team during that time period. So it might have been a blessing in disguise.
Well, and I think that was the thing that I try to remind you of when we're not doing this stuff is like, it is a bummer if it starts to maybe go down or stay stagnant. But we were off 2 weeks. And I really just think we timed it in terms of like when the team really
I mean, they really cratered.
They really cratered. And I still think they're dealing with this. It's good to hear about, everybody kind of coming back to the party, but I think the team is right in the thick of people don't care. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
A large portion of people don't care.
Speaking of things to watch for, wow, I didn't do a good job with that. I'll go ahead and get rid of that graphic. I left the Hawks on there because I'm an idiot. Put the Heat logo and left Hawks on it. I can tell you kind of how brain dead I am right now. A lot of people are out. Let me just pull up my my Trailblazers Slack notifications here for the PR. Okay, so Larry Nance Jr. was upgraded. Duncan Robinson was upgraded. So each team had somebody upgraded, but for the Heat, you will not have, for various reasons, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Dewayne Dedmon, Marcus Garrett, Udonis Haslem, Eric Holman, Markieff Morris, KZ Okpala, Victor Oladipo, and Gabe Vincent.
Why is Bam out? Did he COVID?
He's got the UCL surgery
on
his thumb.
Shoot, I forgot about that. The Blazers are going to win tonight. Who's playing? Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro? Yeah, can match that.
I mean,
he's going to shoot 30 more times.
That's the hope. Out for the Blazers. No more. Nance obviously is now. I believe it was questionable, not probable. But I was told that he did clear protocols. I would imagine he's going to play.
Yeah, it sounded like I checked Twitter and I thought I saw Holdall basically say he's playing, but I could have misread that. So
Dame obviously is out for injury management. CJ is still listed as right lung pneumothorax, which I heard he's been practicing pretty much full speed. This is, I think, more to do with
trade.
Well, not even that. Elise is pregnant. It's an any day situation right now. So I think they're not trying to bring him back before his kid's born.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think that's kind of the situation right now.
Then, yeah, I guess you don't play these games, then he won't go on the road trip. And, yeah, then you don't miss anything.
Yeah. So, and then Cody Zeller. He is listed as health and safety protocols, not his knee. So, I don't know.
That knee injury was pretty serious.
It was a fracture. So, Gabe says, I heard he had Rona, must be contact tracing. So there is some different rules now with COVID. Even if you test positive or you test below a certain threshold, I think you can clear it faster now. So it's a weird situation. But the bottom line here is a lot of people are out, but the Miami Heat are still a very good team. When you look at their net rating, they are right there. Their point differential is they're within 1 point between Milwaukee, Cleveland, Chicago, Miami. Up 4.8 from Milwaukee all the way down to a plus 4.2 for Miami. So the top of that Eastern Conference is very good. You have
I think the top of the East is better than the top of the West.
Well, it's kind of funny because if you look at the point diff, Utah is the best point diff in the league at 11, Golden State at 9, Phoenix at 8, and then it falls to 4.8 for Milwaukee. So you've got the top three in the West, and you've got a pretty big gap, Memphis, but then you have like the top 4 or 5 in the East, and then a smaller gap, like we were talking about Atlanta. Atlanta was 16 and 19, and they were in 12th in the East coming into that game.
Yeah.
Portland was 13 and 22 coming into that game, and they were in 12th. So there's pretty significant difference between the bottom half of the East and the bottom half of the West for sure.
Well, and I think you and we've talked about this before on the pod. I think we're in lockstep on how we feel about Miami. You know, when they got Lowry, I thought that was huge.
It's a title contending team.
It's a title contending team. If you told me they won the championship, assuming Jimmy comes back okay from the sprain and COVID doesn't fuck everything up, I won't bat an eye at that. I'll say, yeah, they were really good in the bubble. They damn near beat the Lakers.
That tracks.
So yeah, it makes sense.
So taking a look at Miami tonight, yes, they are without some star power. That is for sure. For those of you who are not aware, Tyler Herro is that guy. I picked Tyler Herro as the sixth man of the year last year. I was a year early to the party. He had a rough year. Maybe didn't concentrate on basketball quite as much as he should have been. We'll leave it at that.
That's been a weird year, though, too. I think, not to excuse behavior or whatever, but
he's a young kid, man. Like
it's their third season, Danny, in less than 2 years. Their third season.
Yeah. And Herro is a rookie. That's like it all kind of tracks. But Herro's averaging 20 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. He's just a hair off 25 and 5.
Yeah,
that is a hell of a player. So when we're talking about the Blazers should play well tonight, I'm like, well, Herro's been that dude this year. I would imagine Ant gets the start tonight. Who's he going to be up against?
Kyle Lowry.
One of the best defenders in the NBA, yes?
Yes, not even debatable.
So it's going to be a fun test for Ant. That's actually one of the things I'm looking forward to. Got a little bit of foreshadowing there. But I mean, they have some dudes. Obviously, they don't have Jimmy, they don't have Bam, but they do have Lowry. They do have Herro. Duncan Robinson's been shooting pretty poorly. Caleb Martin is a guy who seemingly hurts Portland every time he plays them.
I like the
Martin twins.
The Martin twins. Yeah, they're our new Morris twins.
They're like the slightly less hateable. Like,
ooh, you give them a couple more years.
You think so?
Yeah, the one in Charlotte, because I do this to the Morris twins. I always say the one, like the one on this team, because I get them mixed up. But the one in Charlotte, he's got real FU energy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you told me his brother kind of evolves into that too, and then in 5 years they are the new Morris twins, I won't be surprised.
Okay, I'll give you that.
They had that edge in Nevada.
Yeah, the Morai are just like, they're a different level. Like, full vitriol. I look at the Martins angrier. And I'm like, you're irritating, like, but in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I look at the Morai and I'm like, you guys are a problem, and I don't mean like, oh, they're a problem, like snorting face emoji. I'm like, you're gonna hurt somebody stupidly.
Vince Vaughn, you're a problem. You're a real problem.
Yes, very much. Let's kind of talk about Dame and kind of that situation in general. Obviously, for those that didn't catch it, Sean Highkin asked Chauncey Billups. Was that yesterday?
It was yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday after practice, it all blends together. God. Yesterday after practice, what basically the situation is with Damian Lillard, and they said, "Hey, we are opting to rest Dame for the next 3 games, and from then on out, we will revisit this in basically a week," which coincides with them going out on this 6-game road trip. That is a game every other day, and by the time they get back, it'll be January 23rd, and it's going to be an interesting situation. I don't think Dame's shut down entirely between now and the All-Star break.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? Come here.
And she just thought your opinion was trash.
That'll happen. Do me a favor. Go ahead and take this real quick.
Yeah. Obviously, Danny's got his best friend with him right now. So, look, I think that I know Danny's going to get more into the Dame comments, but I personally, I just evaluate the situation. Damian Lillard he's a smart guy. He's a smart dude, but he loves to play basketball so much. I'm more hoping that they make this decision well ahead of this All-Star situation, because like I get making it. I know what that can mean, but you are just better served from your longevity standpoint. I think the team is much better served for draft capital. Take the surgery now. Just, you know what I mean? Like, it sucks. You don't want to say this. You don't want to do it, but you take it now. You'll be good to go come summertime. You'll get healthy. You'll feel relaxed. I think you'll feel good. Hopefully a Joe Cronin makes the right moves, maybe drafts the right asset, assuming they're bad enough. Although we can talk about it. Anfernee Simons might cost him some draft capital because he loves to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall it's just the better move to do it now. I get they're delaying this. They're slow playing it. You could tell. I just wish he'd make the decision, because we can tell that that's what the decision's going to be. And I'd rather them just keep racking up losses. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. And I know sometimes it's going to be a bummer, but we also get these Ant games, Nas games. Like, they could still be somewhat exciting. And I think they're better served for it.
Yeah. For those interested, yes, this is Dallas. This is the puppy. Normally she's with Mom, but Mom's at an appointment right now. So she's hanging out here. Overall, we saw this coming. It wasn't something that's too far out in the wilderness, to be very clear.
Have you asked for a public apology from like 4 people?
4? Like 14.
I mean, whatever it is, like, you kind of got shit on for that take when we talked about this early, and I was like,
this was like
dude,
September. September we were talking about. I'm like, Dame is hurt. Don't be dumb. And it's so much. It's very easy to see that, Dame and I like to link myself to a professional athlete, but we got a cortisone shot in essentially the same place, like a day apart. Mine is fading right now. Do you think the guy who's a professional athlete, his is fading as well?
I think his is probably faded because he's taking a lot more.
He's working it around just a little bit more than the guy who can't move because his hips are broken.
Right.
So this was kind of the situation that I expected. It actually accelerated a little bit more than I anticipated, if I'm being entirely honest. But overall, if they can get Dame on board to being fully down, then that's the right move. We've kind of talked about this a ton, but if you're going to lose a season Lose a season in a time when you can get a top 5 draft pick and you can get two guys in Anfernee Simons and Nassir Little who are either going to be very, very important trade chips or very, very important players for you going forward.
Yep.
Get them time. Allow them to make mistakes that don't matter. Because when they make mistakes that matter in a season when you're chasing something, then the pressure becomes a problem. Then you start yanking guys, and it's just like, let these guys, like if you look at like what Jordan Poole is right now, he was allowed to make very stupid decisions.
Yes, he was.
And play through them, and the coaching staff could figure it out. They can do that with the young guys here. They can get them through. They can get some trust built, and that's kind of the situation that I kind of find myself being in. And somebody asked in here, DSJ says, are we at the point where we're rooting for losses? I don't think you'll need to.
I don't like that term, rooting for losses. If you told me Anfernee Simons scores 23 and Nas gives you 15 to 18
and they lose, so be it.
I'm not going to be mad. Like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, but yeah, I think it's important. And I think the point you're making is vital too. Like, it's not just about the pressure will be there in big moments, assuming they are pieces that maybe Portland says we can keep them and it'll make sense. But it also, like, you make mistakes now and it doesn't matter win-loss wise for your team. That creates a confidence that when you go out there next year, those moments, right? You could be in a game
that's too small for them.
They're not too small. It could be an irrelevant game this year where it comes down to the wire. You make a mistake, whatever. You got a loss.
Anfernee Simons playing 30 minutes against Kyle Lowry in pick and roll defense and understanding what that's like to be a primary focus. Like, if you go back and watch that 43-point game, which you're damn right I went back and watched it. The one thing where I was like, okay, that's where the growth needs to come, is when they started to really bring that double team, to really bring that pressure and string him out. It wasn't that Ant was in a hurry to get rid of that ball, but he was like, I'm good. I don't need to force the issue here. Or sometimes I think you need to force the issue because you were that guy, you were that hot, you were on that heater. And I think if you're looking to grow, you take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you when you're matched up against the guy who's got 15 years of NBA experience, who's very, very good. Okay.
Agree. No, I agree with you on that one. And you cannot replace what the experience was. I'm glad you brought up Jordan Poole. I think a lot of people, maybe who didn't watch as close to Warrior stuff as last year was like, who's Poole? Right. And I think a lot of the hoop heads in the chat right now hanging out with us, man, if you watched the Golden State Warriors last year, you saw Jordan Poole play, and he wasn't this player. He was good, but he wasn't this player. Like this, that was big for him last year. So to see that kind of growth, it's just like how much growth can Nas take? How much growth can Ant take? No matter where they end up, like I want to watch them grow as players.
And this is like it's like a free opportunity. Michael Morales says, I wonder if Simons will be in a force it mode to prove that he isn't a flash in the barrel. Ant's not a flash in the barrel. Like, I can tell you that right now. I'm more than confident that Anfernee Simons is a starting caliber guard in this league.
Well, I don't think Ant views himself as that either, right? Didn't Michael say, is this him trying to force it so he's not? I don't think he needs to do that.
Tonight, honestly, the thing that I'm looking for is for him to just play the way that they need to play tonight. Because he's going up against a guy in Kyle Lowry that's going to not give him the same look, who's going to put additional ball pressure on him, who's going to jump over the top of screens, who's going to be very physical with him at the point of attack. How does he react to those things? And what I want to see is for Kyle Lowry to metaphorically punch him in the face and for Ant to make the adjustment. That's what I'm looking for tonight. In all these games, I am not looking... For those who we're talking about, wins and losses, I am not looking at wins and losses. I am looking at wins and losses by players. I am looking at Nassir Little not hitching because he's hesitating on his three-point shot because he was shooting poorly for a little while. Making the right read when they draw two on a drive. Getting 2 feet in the paint. Not falling asleep off the ball. The wins that I'm looking for are the individual wins right now. And that's when you're talking about the things that are going on with this team. That's what me personally that I'm looking to watch right now.
No, I think that's totally fair. I think a lot of people are going to have no choice but to watch for that now. So I hope when you just said that, someone was like, okay, that's a good thing to be looking for. It's kind of similar for me. I mean, it's basically kind of the same thing. I just want to see Ant have a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
43 to follow up 43.
He's not going to go drop 50. That's not what's going to happen.
No, I'm not even really sitting here saying he needs to drop 30. Just like you give me a good, efficient game where I can see that you can handle what you just did, which, by the way, was awesome. It was a cool family moment. Can you follow that up? That's a hard part for a lot of guys in this league. And Nas is kind of the same thing. Like, Nas, you had a really good game. It was a little overshadowed, but you had a good game. Follow that up because your team's going to need that same performance tonight.
I want Ant to continue to take the shots that need to be taken, to make the passes that he was making, and to continue growing a little bit more creation off the bounce, passing off the bounce, his standstill passing, and when he can see something develop. And the thing is, he's seeing things develop earlier, which is a good sign. But just those little tweaks as far as how far into things he can really develop. And the same thing from Nas. When I look at Nas, it's like Nas is defensively is getting better and better on ball. Off ball, he still struggles. If you want to go back and watch some film, it's not so impressive for him. It was against Dallas when he fell asleep against Porzingis quite a few times. Mm-hmm. So those are the things you kind of look back and go, oh, okay. And that's not criminal. That's just like hey, that happens. That's just kind of, that's the life of a young NBA player. Like if you want to take a look at a perfect example, Tyler Herro looked awful last year. They were hard shopping him. There was a coin toss chance that he was out of Miami because he just didn't have the right mentality. He wasn't in a good place. He wasn't all that productive. Now he's basically wrapped up Sixth Man of the Year and is this generation's Ginobili.
Well, there was speculation at one point last year, Danny. People were wondering, was Pat Riley and company going to trade him for Lowry last year?
Yes.
And
Lowry and Precious.
And they're lucky they sat down, and Jimmy probably behind the scenes was like, we can get him in free agency. Yeah. That's my boy. And they were probably like, okay. But they were almost considering switching him over to the Raptors, which
the
now
offer was made.
Like, damn.
So if you want to find a critical point of Masai that he's not the Messiah, is that he did not take he did not take Herro and Precious for Lowry.
Yeah.
So let's get into the degenerate portion of the night. I kind of want to see what your thoughts are here on the lines tonight, good sir.
Oh, buddy, do you really?
Blazers +2.
Oh, okay. I got +3 on the Vegas consensus, but we're using the app.
So we're using the app, and we're also using it. We're using the app from a half hour ago. So
okay.
Let's see.
I'm trying to see real quick. So the app.
It is now at 3.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there's been a lot of movement. It opened at Portland with 1, and it's all the way with Miami at 3.
And interestingly enough, the over/under was at 216. It is at 215.5. It's a little bit surprising considering both Duncan Robinson and Larry Nance Jr. both got cleared. I would not expect the point total to move down with both those guys going active.
I know where you're going with that.
You do? I'm 100% taking the over of 215.
Yeah, how would you not take the over there? I'm taking Portland +3.
You're feeling pretty good.
I mean, I don't have reason to feel pretty good.
Was it just the style of basketball that you saw last game?
It was Larry. Larry playing tonight is huge for me. Like, if they didn't have Larry, I wouldn't give him a shot. I think he's going to do a lot of little things, those dirty things, in a good way, not a bad way. But Norm and
this does leave Miami without some size.
No, it's like they got an opportunity if they're hitting their shots. If Norm's coming out aggressive and playing well early, if Ant is hitting his shots when he's given open looks, I love the effort that we saw in that last game, and I'll take that over a pretty depleted Miami team right now.
Don August says, any kind of timeline for CJ seems quiet on the CJ updates. I would not expect CJ to come back until him and his wife have their first child. That's kind of how I would expect that to play out.
If at all.
If at all, to be honest. The way things are going, I am just as likely to believe that CJ would be traded tomorrow as I would believe that he will be on the roster this summer. Like it's just one way or the other. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I have heard some scuttlebutt around Covington.
Okay.
I'd expect him to be moved relatively quickly. If he got moved in the next 2 weeks, less than the next 2 weeks, to be honest, it would be very, very not surprising. Marvin Bagley's name has come up quite a bit. So we'll see.
Okay.
If they did a straight-up deal, it'd save Portland $1.6 million and would get them halfway to the nearly $3 million that they need to save to get on the tax line.
Is he well, okay, I want to kind of follow up with something real quick. Is Bagley free agent after this year?
I believe he has 1 year left.
Okay. I couldn't
2017,
remember.
yeah. So he's got 1 year left.
All right.
Or excuse me, 2018.
If that ends up being the move, whatever, we texted about this. I told you I actually think it makes him kind of slightly worse, but you taking a young player, why not take a flyer?
Bagley wants out of Sacramento. His agent wants him out of Sacramento. Sacramento wants him out of Sacramento. But he's playing both sides are playing nice right now in order to get a deal done.
Sure.
Because Sacramento is toxic. Like, I love going back and watching Alvin Gentry press conferences right now. They are a blast. Because he is just bleep this, bleep that. He literally said the other night, excuse me, it's like, if you need me, I'll be at home drinking. That is how he closed the press conference.
Yeah, I heard his thing on the Laker game last night. Yeah, that was good. Like, I love Alvin Gentry. Gotta admit,
he doesn't pull any punches. He is from the school of talk so much shit in the post game that they can't find you every single time. It's very much like
it's like the Draymond Green of coaching. Like,
yes,
you can't get teed up every time.
You can't get teed up every time. Yeah,
right.
It's like you just talk.
The
so
Richard
much
Sherman of holding.
Yeah, you do it enough, and you're just like, nah, whatever.
On that, I was gonna say this though on that trade, if that's a move that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also a bit of a bummer if we're just being real. Like,
you turn 2 first-round draft picks and Trevor
you traded
into Marvin Bagley.
Yes. Yeah.
But you get younger, you get taller, you get more athletic.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about it is it kind of reeks of Neil Olshey.
Well, it reeks of Neil Olshey in the
the redraft.
The top 3 guy, and he didn't have a fair shake. But here's my other problem too. Not that it, I guess, is the end all be all. Because again, I won't be bummed if they lose a lot of games. Is he going to bring any kind of toxic attitude with him? Because that's something Sacramento can kind of rub off on you.
Yeah, no, that's part of the reason why they kind of want him gone. I don't know how much of the toxicity, much like Yusuf Nurkic in Denver, was organizationally related or personally related. Like, I hate doing this because he's my guy and I love him. He's a USC guy, but Kevin Porter Jr. is toxic everywhere he goes. It's not the organization.
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley has been with one franchise. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to probably end up being with a lot of franchises before it's all said and done, unfortunately.
Probably if he doesn't change it, probably out of the league well before he should be, too.
He's very talented, but he's not Antonio Brown talented. He's not a Hall of Fame.
Take his shorts and his jersey off, throw him into the stand.
Like, I just
out.
Like, Dennis Rodman got away with that. Dennis Rodman was a multi-time defensive player of the year and all rebounder and top 100 player of all time.
Yeah, but then eventually even Dallas and the Lakers were like, all right, fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, we've had enough of your crap. So there is a breaking point for that. I did take the over tonight, especially now that it's going down. Let me go ahead and get in on that, ladies and gentlemen. As much as heat culture brings defense, no Bam, no Jimmy. I'm not gonna buy a ton into that. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I would expect a lot of our pregame shows to kind of look like this going forward and until the trade deadline, where we're kind of talking about what's going on around the team, maybe a little bit of like, here's what we expect to, kind of happen tonight, especially with so many injuries and so much COVID nonsense, guys being out. It's just hard to get a feel for a team right now. I am going to effort to get some guests in for the, if not for the pregame, for the watch parties, just to kind of switch it up a little bit. I will have the watch party link up here probably at about 6:45, so in about 35 minutes here or so. If you haven't already, subscribe. Come check it out. I think it's worth it. It's a ton of fun. Especially when a night like last time when Ant goes for 43 and you get to see us lose our collective shit. So it's fun. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. I will have some contest stuff up here shortly. Me getting my ass kicked by COVID kind of delayed that a little bit. So I've got some prints from M&M that I'll put in the drawing, as well as some jerseys, and I've got some tickets coming in as well, which I think I might see if I can get some for later in the season. Just because it's not a great environment right now. And we'll kind of figure that out. But for Brandon, I'm Danny. You can find us on social media at Jack Ramsays, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. We'll catch you all on the post-game show and on the watch party if you would like to be a part.